You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ13 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you ready to learn the 3 secrets to launching a successful podcast? Hi, I'm Bill, a recent client of the Podcast Mogul. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast but aren't sure where to begin, he's got you covered. He is hosting a free webinar where he will share the 3 secrets that can help you launch, grow, and monetize your podcast without any fancy equipment or technical headaches. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot now and let him help get your podcast off the ground.
I believe the reason why our network, the one that I started about 4 years ago now, 5 years ago, is doing well. One of the main reasons.
Hey guys, it's Phil Better with Invest in Yourself, the digital entrepreneur podcast. Today's guest you heard in the beginning is Mr. Ralph Sutton, an amazing guy, an OG in the podcasting world. He went from being a strip club DJ to owning his own podcast network. You get to hear his whole story and why he believes he has the best network there is out there. So please make sure you listen to that. At the end of the episode, he also offers you guys an amazing deal, and I highly suggest you try it out because it's so great to hear and listen to this guy and the wisdom he has, and of course the guests he gets. So without further ado, have a great time and let's get to the podcast. We have Mr. Ralph Sutton on the podcast, pretty much a legend, I would say, probably an OG in the digital entrepreneurship at least, because he went from starting as a strip club DJ to owning your own podcast network with a bunch of merchandise, pretty much, correct?
Yeah, a lot of steps in between, but yes, pretty much correct. You left out the part, but I'll allow it for now. Yes, that's true.
Just throwing a whole bunch of good stuff towards you because in between it doesn't really matter, right? It's the end goals, I think. No, it's
true. I would say, I believe the reason why our network, the one that I started about 4 years ago now, 5 years ago, is doing well. One of the main reasons is that I did come from radio. Mm-hmm. I had a radio show that was on almost 100 stations for most of my adult life. Even in a couple of channels, stations in Canada, we got around the that original content law, whatever that's called. I forget.
Yeah, it's the you have to have at least I think 30% to 40% Canadian content.
So
if you want to grow
a rush track every now and then, and they let us slide. But
perfect.
We were an 80s rock show that was on all over the country. So when I started the podcast network and the podcast in general, the one that I host, I felt that I came at it with a different sensibility because I had a background in radio.
Yeah, a lot of people who start their podcasts, they don't have that, because as a podcaster, you have to wear every hat there is.
Sure.
There's the promoter, the content producing, editor, all that, unless you have the money to pay people to do it. But most of us don't have that.
Right. And the biggest mistake I would say that people do is that they want all that. So they rent a studio, they hire a promoter, they do all these things before their podcast has even started. And you're already starting negatively. You're already putting yourself in the hole, not to drop names, but I was on the cover of entrepreneur.com, which is a big magazine website here in New York, on how to, in the United States, how to start a podcast. And that was my number one thing. You can start a podcast with almost no money. And if you're not doing it that way, unless you're a major influencer, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, like with your phone, there's Anchor. Anchor right there, boom, right there.
Yeah.
Test it out. See if you enjoy it. Get your first 100 episodes out, or at least that, and you'll be fine. You'll be, okay, I'm comfortable. And then you're like, okay, let's step up your game.
Yeah, especially if you've never done this type of thing before.
Yeah.
Most podcasts get abandoned. They say there's 1 million podcasts in the iTunes store, but I think it's 60% of them are not active anymore. So they're just, someone did 3 or 4 episodes or a dozen episodes, and they're just sitting there. They're counted as a podcast because they will come up in a search, but they're not active anymore.
No, there's a majority of them. People get like they get the Joe Rogan shiny lights. They're like, oh my God, he makes so much money, because he just signed with the thing, and they're like, I can do it. But they don't understand how much work it is to get it, to be a digital entrepreneur, because you are a digital entrepreneur when you start your podcast, because it's a business. If you look at it as a business and grow it as a business, that's the way it is.
You know what's funny, Phil, is that when I started the podcast, I have 2 shows, but my main show that's the more popular one is called SDR, Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll. You
Great
can see
name.
kind of the logo right there.
Yeah.
An intentional name is that I thought, okay, if you never heard of the show, but you see the name, you're like, oh, okay, I'll listen to that. I get it. I know what that's going to be like. So that was intentional. But when I started, I joined their subreddit for podcasts.
Yeah.
And it's funny, now there's like 500,000 people in that podcast Reddit, but at the time there was like 5,000. It was very new, maybe 6 years ago. And I asked, because I was still doing radio, and I decided I was going to do this podcast, and I put up a question, how do you monetize a podcast? Because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I got so much crap. Like, you shouldn't be concerned about money. You should just do it for the love of it, and blah, blah, blah. While I do agree, I was coming at it from a different angle because I was already making my money in radio. And I was like, if I'm going to transition to this, I need to know how to make money in this.
Yeah.
I didn't know at the time, but I do feel that if you don't think about that aspect of it and how you really make money in a podcast, then you're going to be sorely let down when you find out the actual metrics.
Yeah.
Maybe years later.
Yeah. Like it's not starting off the gate with, oh, I'm going to make $1 million. It's like, my goal is to lay the foundation so that future can make money.
Right. And not only that, your first goal should be starting, seeing if you like it and moving on. But once you decide, okay, I want to try and make a little something, your only concern should be, let me not be losing money on this. If I can get someone to spend $25 a month to cover my hosting and a couple of beers, that's good. And then you're actually, I could say, I'm doing this. It's more than a hobby. I'm making a little money at it. And then you start feeling good about yourself. I think the problem a lot of podcasters do is they're trying to get that $10,000 deal per week, whatever it is. You're not going to get it. Just don't even try. My first sponsor was a strip club I used to work at. And I said, look, we're getting at the time like 500 downloads a month from Jersey, and the strip club was in Jersey. I said, I'll let you do it for $100 a month. He's like, for sure? Really? I said, yeah, for $100 a month. So he gave me $500 and said, I'm your sponsor for the next 5 months. And I was like, great, I'm covered now. I don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah, and like you said, he's probably already spending like thousands of dollars in advertising in print or radio, and he's like, I can get it for $500 for 5 months.
Yeah, why not? Yeah,
it's a steal.
Right, he took it out of the register and just gave it to me.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I was like, all right, we're done. This is good. We're started. We're professionals now.
Yeah, like you're getting paid, and like that's how you did it. You looked at it like, okay, yes, a lot of the pure people are like, it's for the hobby. Like, yes, it has to be for fun, but you also have to look at, can I make this fun thing into a long thing? And with the internet,
you don't want to, unless your money is not your concern for this. That's fine too, but they are 2 separate ventures. You really have to look at them that way. They're 2 very separate things.
Yeah, if you want this to be a hobby and remain a hobby, and you just want to talk with your friend about movies every once in a while, coming back and listening to your old time, go ahead. Just realize that if you don't invest in it, it's not going to grow.
It used to be a mantra, in the early days of podcasting, put out good content and the listeners will find you. That is not true anymore.
No.
When there's 1 million podcasts and it's growing exponentially, that's just not true. I don't care how good you are. You know how many great guitarists are out there right now and they're living in their parents' basement? There's just too many of them. You're not going to find the great DJs, great photographers. You need to figure out a way to get your name out there.
Yeah, you have to disrupt it. You have to change it somehow. And it's like, luckily with podcasting, it's connection. Podcasting is a network that's so great because everybody knows if you have a podcast and you're like, hey, I want to guest on yours, you want to guest on mine, right there. like I'm a brand, as you know, I'm a brand new podcast. It's a brand new podcast I'm starting, but I have that network of past guests, and you have your promo. I'm hoping, obviously, you'll promote yours because you growing is better than anything else.
Right.
Promo is promo.
Yeah. In the beginning, I mean, there's the idea ABP, always be promoting. You know, so I have a stack of SDR show stickers at my front door. I don't leave my house without them. Never. Even now, years later. I don't, if I consider it now is different because of COVID, but in normal times, I would consider a day a failure if I didn't get at least 5 new people throughout the course of my day walking into coffee shops or whatever to subscribe and leave a review to my show, right? So for a long time, my show was like in the top. We actually hit number 1 in iTunes twice. And it came from that. It came from, we didn't have the Joe Rogan numbers, but because it's a different algorithm, it's based on subscribers and reviews and searches and whatnot. We were in the top 10 consistently for a long time. Now we're always in the top 100 of comedy interviews in the United States. But,
I am looking right now, just to let you know, I'm looking at Chartable. Mm-hmm. In Germany, you're in the top, you're the 68 in Germany.
There we go.
Congratulations.
Because I'm Jewish, they all hate listening.
But yeah, I'm looking. You're always in the top. Well, in the all time in the U.S., you're number 16 in the comedy.
Well, there you go. Hello now. Yes.
Like that's huge. You're huge in Canada. You're number 56 all time.
Let me say this, by the way, you should not, and it sounds weird, but I don't even look at charts anymore because you will drive yourself crazy.
Oh yeah.
You know, so the only thing I do is once a month, we have an ad sales meeting for the network where we go over the numbers of each show. That's the only time I hear my numbers. I don't look at my numbers because you will go crazy. And it's not, your time could be spent better. The 20 minutes you looked up your charts and obsessed over it, you could have posted a link to your show 4 times.
Yeah.
And that would have done better for you than you looking at your numbers.
No, it's very true because it's so slow growth, just like most YouTube channels. You'll get that one episode that may go viral, like an interview or one of my top rated podcasts on my other show, the Feel Better Show, is an episode about the Deadpool trailer and the Avengers trailer. Mm-hmm. I did it with my friend. It's the one that gets the most downloads for me. It's at nearly 300 downloads. It's my most downloaded show, and it still gets downloads to this day.
What's funny is, so we have a network also. I started a network about 5 years ago called GaS Digital that does really well. And I tell every show on the network, you are one clip away from being 100,000 listener show. Mm-hmm. You know, like you never know what's going to hit. We had a crazy thing happen last week where, oh my God, every rock newspaper and magazine online wrote up about us. Not necessarily in a very positive. We kind of knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
But boy, did it do wonders for us. Like we're talking, hundreds of thousands of downloads in the last 2 weeks because of this one thing. Because every single a rock online magazine, like at least 20 of them.
I searched you up, and the first thing that popped up was the fact that you had someone walk out on you.
Yeah. Well, that was it. So that was part A of the story. The reason why. So I'm going to give it a quick cliff noted version of that.
I'm also, just so everybody knows, I'm going to link the episode. Is the episode live, by the way?
Yeah, sure. It is. But we only have to do 15 online, but it's a 2-parter. You have to watch both parts.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm putting both parts in it.
So what happened was, my roots, as I said, is in radio. We did a lot of 80s rock. And so I know Sebastian Bach. He's from a band called Skid Row that was big in the 80s and 90s. And he still sounds great today. And I actually have had, up until 2 weeks ago, I would say, a decent relationship with him. Right. And without getting into real detail, my co-host on my comedy podcast likes to push buttons. That's just who he is. And I said, prior to going live, this episode's not going to last an hour. It's not going to happen. Right. And I know Sebastian is a little more sensitive. Something's going to happen. It lasted 11 minutes. The joke was at Rob Halford's expense, who's the singer of Judas Priest, right? Sebastian got angry about it, and 11 minutes into an hour show just killed the Zoom call, right? Did this move and then it was off, right? And it's like, we just we talked about it for 45 minutes, made a show out of it. But the hilarious thing about it was By chance, 2 days later, already booked prior to this, we never knew this was going to happen. Rob Halford was coming on the show.
Oh,
So I said to Jay, my co-host, Big Jay Okerson, you have to tell him the story. I said, I know Rob well enough. I'm sure he's going to find it funny. I'm 80% sure he's going to find it funny. But even if he doesn't, either way, we got to tell the story.
it's still a great content because it's promo to promo.
And Rob Halford loved it, laughed, wants us to put a roast together for him. So it all worked out. But the funny thing is, the people that only see part A hate us. The people that saw part B are like, Sebastian overreacted. So It's a really funny way. The messages that are coming in are hilarious to me because I know which video or which podcast they listen to based on the comment that came in.
But then again, like this, because it's in your niche, which is the rock, world, it's all over the place. It's the most viral thing.
Yeah,
it's even hit my world where I'm not in the rock world.
Right.
I saw it.
It was everywhere. I mean, to the point where for a second, I'm like, are they going to cancel us? Because that's the world we live in. I'm like, wait a minute. I own my network. I can't cancel me. My own show. So I was thinking of doing that, like apologizing to myself as a gimmick on the show. But I thought, you don't want to stoke the fire. So we're past it, but I'm glad it happened. And the answer that I said to everybody is that's gotten upset because it was a joke, not about being, it was a joke. Rob Halford's gay, right? And he's very comfortable with who he is. And I think if he's comfortable with who he is and you're comfortable with him being who he is, it shouldn't be a problem to make a joke that's not offensive. But Sebastian, I think, got offended and Rob didn't. So my answer is, if the guy who the joke is about is not offended, why are you getting offended for him? It makes no sense, right? But we're getting off topic anyway. What I'm saying is that clip, that 1-2 punch clip, our numbers went through the roof for the past 2 weeks. It's bonkers. Like, each of those video files have over 100,000 views, and the actual podcasts are doing
through the roof.
I haven't looked, but they're through the roof.
Yeah, and that's just like you said when you explained to your people coming into your network, it's one clip.
Yeah.
Like that one clip of him leaving you spawned an even better clip of him, the guy whose the joke was about was killing himself. So now it's like, plus it spawned the chance of you having a roast.
Right, exactly. Everything about it could not have gone better. And then there's a comic on my network. His name is Godfrey, really funny comic. And his show was doing well. He's a legendary guy, great comic, really funny, super, super smart. But his show was doing just, I would say, well. Not great, well. I thought it would be bigger. But then what happened was he put out a clip of him doing a Steve Harvey impression. And it was Steve Harvey from, Family Feud, the comic, whatever.
Yeah.
It was a really good clip. It was like a minute. And the other guys in the room were really laughing at it. It was just a great minute. And it went crazy viral to the point where Steve Harvey reshared it.
Wow.
Right? And when that happened, now his show quadrupled their numbers. Quadrupled.
That's what it is. Like because we're in the digital world, things can happen overnight. Like
overnight.
But you have to work at it. Like if he didn't have that back catalog of podcasts,
right. It wouldn't matter.
It wouldn't matter because people wouldn't have found him. They wouldn't have discovered.
But if they found him, they'd have nothing to back it up with. It's like, oh, this guy's great. Oh, is this the only clip? And then they move on to somebody else. It's, oh, this guy's great. Oh, he has been doing the show for a year. Let me listen to the old episodes. And that's what's great.
And it builds and builds and builds. And eventually, you syndicated your radio show,
right?
The Tour Bus.
Yeah. We were stations. And that's the same idea behind the network, which is, in the beginning was, hey, the radio show made good money from taking 100 small stations and putting them together and selling ad sales that way. What if we had a few smaller shows and put them together and sold it as a network? And at the time, it wasn't really done a lot. Now it's far more common.
Yeah.
What we used to do is what I would call is like a group or an affiliation, like you're associated with this comedy. Well, it used to be in the old days of internet, like web rings, which just mean like you were part of the Star Wars fan club as a Star Wars website or whatever, but they didn't really do anything for each other. We decided, we're going to get a studio. We're going to give you ad sales. We're going to do this. As long as you come on part of the network, we take a small piece of it. You get the bulk of it. And nobody was really doing that at the time. Still now, our model is super unique. Nobody's really doing what we're doing.
No, it's a great model. It's a new, different thing. And like, what's great is on the internet, one model doesn't necessarily fit for everybody.
Right.
Unlike in the physical world where this is the metrics they have to do it in. You
Right,
have no
because
choice.
There's hard costs involved with brick and mortar that you cannot avoid. In the digital space, you could be as grandiose or as minimal as you want. And I always suggest start as minimal as possible so that you can really feel it out. I really think that even like usually when someone buys a new computer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants the best freaking computer they could buy. And the truth is 90% of us don't need more than 5-year-ago model, really, if not 10-year-ago model, unless you're doing high-end video editing with 4K and 2-hour episodes that you really need to be intricate in your editing. Other than that, you don't need the newest computer. You don't. And so it's just silly, but that's everybody wants the best and the best, and they don't necessarily need it.
No. Like I have an old school mixer that a DJ friend gave me. The microphones, I got a pack of 4 from Amazon. Use my own Amazon affiliate link, so I paid myself.
That's good.
Small little things build over time.
Yeah, exactly. I also tell people go to radio stations in your neighborhood because they probably have mics they're not using anymore. They would sell them for almost nothing. There's always ways to figure it out to do it for cheap.
Garage sales.
This mic that I use at home is a Shure SM48. They're like $40, and I have a decent compressor. It makes it sound a little more luxurious, but for the most part, you don't even need that. You just need one microphone. I don't want you to talk on your phone like from a distance with 3 other people. It will sound terrible.
Yeah.
Get each person a mic because audio matters in a podcast, but that's really the only expense, and that's only if you're doing more than one person.
No, like if you're lucky and you're able to do Zoom, it's even better. Yeah. I have from my other podcast, because I did have friends who weren't podcasters, so they had no idea how to do anything audio related. I have a little image that shows them how to do it on their phone. So I can talk to them on their phone while they're talking to me. And it's like, it's not the best because it's the quality, but it's better than nothing, and that's, if you have that, just teach people, make it as simple as possible for people to enter and listen to your podcast.
Yeah. And also you never want to be beholden to other people, meaning like you don't have to be the greatest editor. You don't have to be the greatest, social media person, whatever. Just know how to do it so that if someone else doesn't show up one day, you could do it all. And you don't have to be great. Just get it done. By the way, do people tell you that you look and sound a little bit like Seth Rogen?
No, I get Kevin James a lot.
James, I don't see at all.
When my beard was shorter.
But you sound, you have a little bit of the inflection of Seth Rogen.
Oh, thank you. I get told that I have a voice for radio. And I think it's
told I have a face for radio. Hi-oh!
Hey-oh! Yeah, I got told that too. It destroyed my self-esteem, and now I do podcasts. So it makes up for it.
Podcast, so it's fine.
But yeah, so when you started your podcast, you came at it with a monetizing way. And you joined the Laugh Out Loud network first, right?
All Things Comedy.
All Things Comedy. Sorry, yeah, All Things Comedy. And you were there for about a year before you launched the GaS network.
Yeah, I was there for about a year. And it's funny. They are much bigger now than they were then. And then they were another example of what I would say was more of an affiliation than an actual network. They weren't selling ads. What they did was they offered us free hosting. But the worst part about it was they moved us to SoundCloud, which is the worst platform in the world. I didn't know better at the time. So we had left Libsyn to go to SoundCloud and then went back to Libsyn. But now we're with Art19. But I think Libsyn, to my knowledge, at least now, is still one of the most reliable.
Yeah, Libsyn, the stats are great. The hosting's perfect. It gives you a little mini website that you can use so you don't have to pay for hosting. And it's cheap.
It's cheap. So, yeah, I recommend it. But it just sucks because we still get, I don't know, because when we finally switched to All Things Comedy on SoundCloud, I spent months looking, how do you promote a SoundCloud? I joined all these like SoundCloud groups and affiliate groups. And so I still keep that SoundCloud because we're still getting 15,000 listeners per episode, each episode. And I don't want to lose that, but it's every time I have to go pull in those figures, I'm like, All Things Comedy, God damn it. I could just really wish I never had to do that. But, they're really big now, though. But, yeah, after a year, we got a check for like $50. I was like, what are we doing here? Let's figure something out. And that's what started. That was the catalyst for us figuring out how to do our own thing.
So yeah, because I tried to start some probably more along the lines of all things comedy, trying to move into what you have now, GaS Network, GaS Digital Network. Sorry, with my friends, but it felt more like what all things comedies. We're just association of podcasters trying. How did you go from taking it from an association to making the money? Like what steps? Where did you look? How did you figure these out?
Well, what I did was I found a couple of other like-kind shows that I felt like I knew them already. They were local. They didn't have a studio.
Okay.
And they were like similar size to me. And so I found with my business partner, we found 3 shows, right? So it was 3 shows plus mine, 4 shows together. I already had my little setup at home, which had mics and video and radio. Like we had a little bit of that. So I was able to just say to these people to start with, hey, we'll pay for your hosting and we'll give you a studio.
Okay.
So that was the initial start was we'll pay for yours, we'll give you a studio. I found a media streaming company that would house our media to allow us to do subscription-based for older episodes.
Okay.
And then from those, so I know a little bit about HTML and programming a little bit, and then I just did a little research. Our first website I kind of built it by watching through the school of Google and YouTube.
Yeah.
And we built our first little shitty GaS Digital Network website. And once we saw, okay, this is starting to do something, right, where we were getting subscribers. And plus, we were able to sell cheapo little ads by calling, we listen to other shows and you hear Sherry's Berries or whatever the fuck else you hear. So you call, sorry, I'm trying not to curse too much. I don't know how you
It's fine. As long as you don't say the C word, we're good.
Which C word? The one that involves the lady parts?
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure. Maybe it's cancer. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Who knows? So once we started seeing that money was coming in, I was like, all right, we took it in very incremental steps, right? And the only time I would say that we took a leap of faith, a year and a half into it being in my house, this bedroom right here, this is my second bedroom, still do my show in it, right?
There you go.
Let's see if I can switch cameras for a second. Hold on a second if this is going to work. This camera, right? There, that's the studio, right? And then let's see if I can get you this camera, do a different angle. This movie you could kind of see. There's the tables and stuff. I took everything out over the last year or so. Put back the camera, but and boink, there we go. So, this is where everything was, and in the beginning it was 4 shows. 3 of them happened on Monday. My show happened on a Wednesday, so I didn't mind so much having people in my house for a day. One day they were here anyway because I was doing my show. My show was really Monday stunk. But over the course of a year and a half, it started to pick up. We started adding a couple of new shows. We were selling ads for people. Like it was starting to snowball. And then one day I realized, okay, we have 11 shows. There are people in my house every day. I was on a date. I came home thinking there'd be nobody in the house because they were supposed to be done by 9. I came home at 10:30, and I walked in with a girl from a first date to 15 people in my apartment, and she thought we were going to do something horrible to her. And it ended the date immediately. She's like, what the hell's going on here? Like, I said, guys, why are you here? Like, they said, well, we decided to do a bonus episode. Would somebody tell me? And then that was the first straw. Then they broke a couple things and somebody stole something.
Okay.
And then like a couple of things. I was like, all right, we got to get this out of my house or I'm going to just shut it down, And so we took a leap of faith, got an investment at that point because we had a little bit of money coming in. So we got an investor. It was a friend. And we opened up our studios. But we probably opened our studios a year too early.
Okay.
But I just knew I had to get it out of my house or I was going to kill somebody. So that's what we did. It was 2 years ago. No, sorry. In May, it will be 3 years ago we opened that studio. So
and
now we have 22 shows. I don't want to say exactly how many listeners. I'm not 100%, not because I'm hiding it, but I'm not 100% sure. But let's say it's about 5 million listeners across the network. But we also sell ads for a bunch of shows not on our network. Like we sell for Barbara Corcoran, for Mike Tyson. Like we sell ads for a lot of people. it also spawned that business of an ad sales business. Yeah. We're doing a podcast ad sales. It spawned a merchandising business for all the podcasts. And it also spawned, which I built these beautiful studios, NewYorkCityPodcasting.com. We're renting the studios when there's shows not there, because there's 22 shows. That's really just 22 hours in a week. Yeah. So most of the time the studios are not being used. So we decided to make an online, again, I figured out how to do it. When somebody books time on the calendar in the studio, it takes it off the website so you can't book that time, and then vice versa. And I mean, it took me months of trial and error figuring that out. You could either do that and drive your head crazy or spend 10 grand. And I'd rather just figure it out, Yeah. And all aspects of this, I always want to just figure it out because, as I said 30 minutes ago, I don't want to be beholden to anybody. So once the studio happened, that's when I said to myself, okay, this is a real fucking business now. Now I really need to put a lot of effort in. So I helped create the ad sales department, really from my old radio days, using the methodologies that I learned on how to talk to ad sales people, how to build them, things that should be done. And then same thing with the podcasting, listening to every show on the network, giving insights. We meet once a month to talk about it and whatnot. But now I'd say COVID screwed us up a little bit, like it did everybody. But we had this idea, me and my partner, Lewis, I said, everybody's pulling back. They're cutting staff. They're not doing live entertainment. Because I said, let's do the 180 of that. Let's add a couple shows. Let's raise our prices. Let's not fire anybody, and let's see what happens. And we doubled our paid subscribers because people were so happy that we were one of the only things that were still new. We never missed an episode. Every show was coming out with audio, with video, with clips. Nobody got fired. People were sending us emails every day, and we made a code that you get a month free to just try it out because everybody was starved for entertainment on lockdown. And we got more people just thanking us than anything else to be able to just laugh a little and have a little fun.
You solved a problem. Like a digital entrepreneur solves problems. You solve the problem. How can I monetize? Well, I can get this media subscription that you did when you first, and you're like, okay, I'm going to figure out how to make a website. You did that. You figured it out by the school of YouTube. Then you're like, okay, I want to make money by a network. The network I'm on doesn't work. You figured out how to do it by making the network in your house.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's funny. It goes back to when my radio show first started. We're going back to 1999.
I read how you did a little scam stuff.
A lot of weird stuff. But I was able to get us on. I drove. The story was that we signed with a network, right? And I thought when you are syndicated in radio, that means you're Howard Stern and you're a millionaire. That's what I thought, right? And I learned there's a big difference between being syndicated and being syndicatable. We were syndicatable, but no one was taking our show because who the hell am I? Yeah. So for like 3 months, we just were sending it out into the satellites that nobody was listening to. So I got into a car, drove to Miami, and listened to the radio the whole way down. And then anybody that was playing Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, Van Halen, Motley Crue, I wrote down their radio station in Miami, called all those stations, made 15 meetings, drove back up the East Coast, and came back with 5 new syndicated shows, affiliates. That's how I started in radio.
There you go. Like, you're taking the knowledge that you have in radio and you're putting it into podcasting, everything. And that's what's great about the digital world. Everything real world is applicable here. You just have to figure out how to tune it.
And the thing that's amazing, that is my favorite part of the digital age, which is I could not be more excited about this, is that it's a good thing and a bad thing, but a more good thing, which is it allows anybody to start a podcast, which is like, that was my favorite. The good thing is everyone can start a podcast. The bad thing is anybody can start a podcast.
Yeah.
There's just so much shit out there, right? But the fact that you can just sit on your computer and, like you said, I have a problem. How do I solve this problem? Google it. I promise you, you are not the only person with this problem. And you will find someone else that has it, and then you can solve it. And that's all that digital marketing and digital entrepreneurship is.
Yeah. It's like, I wanted to learn how to promote a podcast, and I went down that rabbit hole for my other one. It didn't work. And I was like, why didn't it work? And I realized I didn't do certain things. I didn't do prep work. And it's the prep work, it's the advertising, it's the, doing everything. I was concentrating on one market, but I wasn't thinking about how to do it on other things. I was joining groups about podcasting instead of going to, fan sites and getting the fans.
That's the big thing. I get so angry people do that. They just, like, there's all these Facebook groups, like Promote Your Podcast or whatever. No one's getting listeners from that. They're all just screaming at each other, listen to me, listen to me. You're doing nothing. All I ever do on those sites is try to answer questions. Try to be helpful. That's what I do. I don't promote on those sites. I just feel that it's better to try, because nobody helped me. I'd rather be a voice of answers. Not saying that I know everything, but I can tell you what worked for me. Maybe it worked for you, maybe not. I don't know.
And I found one group, the podcast support group, that is a great place because they limit the promotion.
Right.
They limit it to 1 day. You're allowed 1 day to promote. Everything else is questions.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually used that day, because I don't think anybody actually is like, oh, let me go check that out. I don't think that happens.
I do. I usually go in and I like posts because it's like just giving karma, letting people feel good. And if you're just posting a link with no description, I don't want to read that. Like, that's nothing.
That's the biggest mistake. I yell at people for that. I was like, why am I listening to this? If someone came in and just threw you a CD in your face, are you going to say, oh, let me go take this home and listen to this? No, you just throw it right in the garbage.
No, you and the people who put in the more description, like, hey, this is my show, this is what the episode about, I'm like, that's interesting. And I actually have listened to 1 or 2 episodes. It also depends on the host. You have to have that vibe with the host.
Right, of course.
Like,
I agonize over show prep. Like, I do about 4 shows a week, because my SDR show's twice a week. My other show, which is called Good Sugar, which is about health and wellness, is once a week. And on all of those shows, and I usually try and tape 1 extra one a week to just get backups,
Yeah.
I do 3 to 5 hours of research for every episode. And it's, if it, like, Neil deGrasse Tyson was just on. Right?
That, by the way, amazing. I don't know how you got that.
It's just, thankfully, he heard the episode we did with the singer of Styx.
Oh.
So he loves Styx. And somehow he was like, oh, I know that show. And then he ended up coming on, so it's great that happened, I listened to his entire book, the newest book. I read a ton of articles written by him and stuff like that. Plus, I'm just a fan. I've seen him speak a bunch of times and whatnot. So I came in, like, I'm looking at the screen. I have 2 pages here, 1 page here, right in front of me, a whole topic list. And I do this with every show. I have a Google Keep file on each guest, right? And you can, like, numerate it, not, like in you could reorder. Yeah. I make the questions and things I want to do. And as the show is going, I'm moving them up and down, ticking them off and on, so that I know that I'm getting to an informative interview and getting the questions I want out of it. And what I can tell you from 30 years almost of doing entertainment radio, 25 years, is your guest appreciates it.
Yeah.
The fact that is, you might be able to just sit and wing it and have a great conversation. My co-host Jay is a brilliant comedian, super funny, super smart, can sit and talk with anybody and be hilariously funny. But if he asks Rob Halford, what band are you in, because he doesn't know it's Judas Priest, that guy is not going to be in a good mood for the rest of the interview, no matter how great you are. So I do all the research.
He's there for the comedic part. You're there to make sure no one gets mad at you, unless you have...
Sometimes I fail, right?
Yeah. But yeah, no, you're a wealth of knowledge, first of all. So thank you for providing my listeners and me with all this great information, because seriously, reading it is one thing, but hearing and speaking with someone who's gone from 0 to over probably 500,000 subscribers.
The network has, I don't know. I think it's 5 million. I could be wrong, but I don't know.
Okay. 5 million listeners on your network. Like, that's, for someone like me looking at it, it's like, that's an amazing goal. And how the hell do I get there? And then realize, like, you started super small. You started, like you said, driving down Miami, listening to radio stations and hitting their doors, or walking out the door and handing out stickers to get listeners.
And by the way, not only that, like, I still have no ego. Not that I should, but whatever. So I'll give you an example. Like, I just came back from L.A. because I was on a reality show 16 years ago, called Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. It was a big show. I was one of the straight guys, in case you were curious. And they're doing a reunion episode. So they messaged me on Facebook, and they said to me, hey, look, the guy we really wanted to do it can't do it. So can you come do it? Right? Some people might say, go fuck yourself. You know, if you didn't want me, I'm not number one. I'm not doing it. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. I don't care. And to me, I'm like, if I get to promote my podcast, promote my network, I'll do it. And they said, yeah, of course you can. So that's why I came.
There you go. Like, you're getting access to, like I read on your thing, it was your season, your episode was the highest rated episode
of all time. And they
of all time
while I was there. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Like, that's huge. And now here you are, you're going in front of millions of people watching this reunion episode, and you're like, hey, I have a podcast. You should listen.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to wear a T-shirt that said the name of my show on it, but I thought that might be a little too much, so I just made sure I said the name on the show several times. You know, but who knows if it when it comes out, if it'll even be edited out or not. But you know, you take all those chances. You go, like, let's say this show. I don't know how many listeners you have. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is. Let's say it's. I don't want to. Let's just say it's 100 people an episode.
Yeah,
make a number,
that's
right?
fine.
100 people an episode. If I get 3 of your listeners to say, you know what, I'm going to go listen to that guy. He was interesting on his show. That's all I care about. I'm looking for a small conversion every time I do something new, and that's all that matters to me. It's about that slow, steady build to keep getting yourself new listeners. Sure, there are things that set your new normal.
Yeah.
We had a crazy thing happen twice on SDR, not including this new one, but like there was this thing with Michael Phelps, the swimmer.
Yeah.
Right? It came out that he was dating the proper term is intersexed female. Used to be the term was hermaphrodite, but now the term is intersex. Right?
Okay.
And she was coming on the Howard Stern show to talk about dating Michael Phelps. For whatever reason, we got her first. Right? Like literally 2 days before she did that, she came on our podcast through a friend that knew her, whatever, she decided to do it. So everybody that was searching her name because of Howard Stern, our episode came up. So it did wonders for us, you know. And then there's a comedian named Ari Shafir. It's also funny how it's related to Howard also. They got into a big argument about podcasting versus radio. And I got asked at the time I was doing both radio and podcasting. I was asked to go on Fox News to talk about the difference between podcasting and radio because I'm doing both.
Yeah.
And then my guest that week just happened to be Ari Shafir. So it worked out again where everybody's searching it. And that episode was the craziest episode in my life of SDR that people can't believe we pulled off.
I first of all, Ari Shafir is crazy and hilarious. So
yeah.
Obviously you're going to have an amazing episode with him.
Yeah. Him and I just got into an argument yesterday, but yes, he's a great guy, brilliant comedian. But we did this thing, and I'm sorry for all of your listeners that are tender. It was called, all I'll say is the name was called the Oralympics. And I don't know if I need to explain it anymore. It doesn't exist. You have to pay for it if you want to go. But actually, on GaS Digital, you just go to gasdigitalnetwork.com. If you use the code SDR, you get a 2-week free trial. So you could just download all the episodes and then cancel your subscription, and you won't get charged $1. So you can go find that episode.
There you go, guys. Already, he's giving you free value here. You can listen to the great 2 episodes, the one about Michael Phelps's intersex girlfriend and the Ari Shafir episode. You can listen to that there just by using the SDR code on his website.
You could literally, there's a program called G-Potter that automatically lets you just download a whole RSS feed of audio files in one swoop.
Wow.
So you just plug it in, do that, cancel. Who cares? I only want people paying that want to support. I would never listen to the free ones. I would just want you I want you to enjoy the show. That's all that matters to me.
I can tell you right now, I'm definitely going to be listening to the last couple episodes.
Okay, fair enough. I apologize in advance.
The Neil deGrasse Tyson one for sure.
My opening question to him, I was actually editing a clip right now. My opening question to him was like, look, dude, I've been a fan for years. I've listened to you here. I've done that. Like, whole buttery warm up to him. Then my first question is quite simple. Why the fuck would you come on a show called Sex, Drugs,
I can't wait to hear the answer. Oh my God.
That's just my clip. It stops there. And then you have to swipe up to hear the actual episode because that's how you will get more listeners.
That's the hook you need.
Hey, a lot of people, and I've just had this argument with my staff, and some people, they have reasons for the other side of it, but I feel your clips should not be enclosed. They should not be episodic. They should be ending on something. They're like, well, what happened? And then you swipe up for more. That's the idea. Or else, what are you doing?
You can do I love the hook. I love that hook because like that would get me to swipe up. Because like if I found out that he was on a sex, drugs, rock and roll podcast, like what is he doing? Like this respectable man doing on something like this, you know? And like, is this like you start finding it like that's great for you, but also that hook. But you can do the episodic because you can have, if you have this great conversation that has value to people, you can do that. But you you got to do the hook first because you hook them and then later on you can do it. But you need those viral hook ones.
Yeah. And I would say, which I think the big takeaway from this is that don't look at, and I'm not saying that I'm some sort of upper level guy that you should be, there's always somebody better a million times. I remember there's this comic, Jim Norton, he has a podcast called Chip Chipperson that does really well, right? And I was a guest on a show, and it was like before he got into character and before we filmed, I was like, dude, congrats on the numbers, man. I see your YouTube numbers are amazing, and you should be thrilled. And his answer was, I don't know, Joe Rogan gets 10 million listeners, so what's the difference if I get a 25,000 or 50,000? You know, I'm like, well, I guess there's always, you should never be happy. You should never rest on your laurels, but there's always somebody bigger, always somebody better. That is fine. But what you shouldn't do is look at like, oh, I want a paid network. I want to get an ad. Just start a show and see if you like it. Start small. And then the other thing, which I think is great, because we met on the Facebook group.
The podcast support group.
There's always new technology. We're in a world now where this podcasting is the newest entertainment platform in our lifetime right now. Yeah. Right? So there's always going to be someone figuring out a way to get from the recording to the distribution to the promotion in a new way. Don't just assume the way you've done it or the way you were taught is the right way to do it. It might have been the right way at the time, but it doesn't mean that it's always right. So constantly look for new things. Like Headliner was a great website that made life a lot easier for people. Placit's a website that makes it a lot easier.
Placit's amazing.
There's a new app called Stereo that they're putting a lot of money into that I'm curious to see where it goes. I'm holding.
There's also Zapier automation.
There's also one called like React or Re-edit or something like that. And it's you edit your audio by looking at a text file and you delete file, and it's interesting. It's expensive.
Yeah.
But like it really only works if you're one person talking. If it's a group, it's not going to work. But it's a fascinating platform.
But so like this guy, like you said, this is a guy who had a problem. He wanted to find some way to edit podcasts faster. Yeah, and with Google doing and Siri doing speech recognition, he figured that out. It's costing him money, so he's like, it's going to cost you money,
right?
But sooner or later, it's going to come down to close to nothing because it's the R&D is going to.
The funny thing is, though, I think even the best speech recognition is like 99.5% accurate. Which, when you talk, the average person, I think, is 300 to 500 words a minute. That is still about 20 words each time you talk. So boy, does that add up. So it's still not there yet, but it's exciting to see all of these things happening because you just know, like when I was in radio was dying. I was like, really like, it was like a joke. Like I tell people I did radio, they're like, radio? Like what?
Still?
And we're like, but in 99, when I said radio, they're like, ooh, radio. It's amazing what happened a decade later. But podcasting, when I first started 6 years ago, they're like, what? Isn't that what someone does in their bedroom, like of their mom's house? You know, but once you hear the stories of Joe Rogan and all these other big podcasts that are making millions, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, podcasts. Okay.
Yeah. Ooh, nice. And it's the same thing with like, I was looking at affiliate marketing as well. It started to be something everybody's like, oh, that's spammy. What are you doing? Now everybody's like, oh, affiliate marketing. How do I get that? Every business, if you go down to their on their website, go to the bottom, there's probably an affiliate thing because they're like, you do more of the work for me. So
we are literally launching an affiliate marketing campaign for GaS Digital where everybody can get their own custom codes, and then they get the money that we would pay a podcaster for just using their code. So it's the same kind of concept.
There you go. Like different business models just evolving by learning at different, like, because the digital entrepreneurship is so huge. There's like just looking at podcasting, But if you just look here, you're never going to grow. But if you look at the different businesses all over the place, affiliate marketing, website building,
studio rentals, whatever it is.
Yeah, there's thousands of different ways that you can build business, and one will take off more than the other. Maybe one day you're like, you know what? I don't want to do SDR anymore. I just want to focus on, GaS digital and growing that. And then boom, you have a new line of work and you're learning a whole bunch of new skills. Absolutely.
And that's the thing. I think people very often fear change and get very set in their ways. And you just, especially if you're going to be in the digital landscape, you should be change and evolve is part of that business.
It's every day. You have to learn something every day to grow because everybody else is doing it.
I have a Slack channel for my staff. And it's like we have Slack channels for every show, but one for producers, one for web guy, whatever. And I send them probably 5 times a week a new piece of software or an article on editing or something that I saw. And I was like, check this out. Look into this. This could be something, because you never know what's going to be the thing that catches on.
Yeah, it's great. I want to thank you so much for giving your time to me today. I was more than enough. It's a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for being on the show.
You also caught me at a good time because my date canceled tonight, so I have the rest of my night off, so I didn't have to distract.
See, there was value for me in your date canceling. But yes, I'm going to give you this time. I want you to promote as much as your stuff as you want. Just go ahead. It's your.
It's follow me everywhere at I am Ralph Sutton. Follow the SDR show everywhere at the SDR show, and follow GaS Digital everywhere at GaS Digital. I'm a big fan of social symmetry. You should figure out a phrase that you can get uniformly across all platforms. There'll always be something if you think about it creatively. And as you know, the newest episode of SDR, well, I don't know, this is coming out in a little while, so I don't know what it'll be, but use the code SDR at GaS Digital Network, and you can hear the whole catalog, view the whole catalog for free. Just download everything and cancel within 14 days. You won't be charged.
There you go. And if you enjoy it, stay and enjoy the greater stuff coming.
You can listen on anywhere you listen to podcasts also. It's free everywhere. But it's only the newest 15 episodes. And so if you want to hear some of the old ones, go to GaS Digital.
There you go. All right. Thank you again. And everybody, have a great night.
Thank you, dude. That was.
Hey guys, it's Phil Better. I want to thank you very much for staying till the end. It's a great episode. I hope you got a lot of value from it. I did as well. I learned how really to start a podcast network. That's one of my goals. But also the fact that he offered you guys at least 2 weeks free of listening to his back catalog, not only of his stuff, but everybody on his network. That's amazing. So please, guys, go check it out and listen to at least one of those episodes. If you do enjoy it, you got at least 2 weeks to get all that back catalog downloaded onto your phone if you don't want to pay that cheap price month to month. But again, I want to thank Ralph for being on the show. Make sure you check out his links are in the show notes down below. And again, if you are interested in having your artwork displayed on the video podcast, reach out to us at info@philbetter.com. And if you would like to have a audio keepsake, your legacy forever, email legacy@philbetterinc.com, and we'll be more than happy to help you there. Guys, again, I want to thank you for liking, listening, subscribing, sharing this with your friends. Without you guys, I can't do this. So thank you for investing in me. I'm going to invest in you. Have a great day.
Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time to take the next step. When you're ready to dive deeper into how to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, Phil's got something special for you. Join him for a free webinar where he'll reveal the 3 secrets that have helped countless entrepreneurs succeed in podcasting. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot, and let's turn your podcasting dreams into reality.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ13 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.